The trouble with bulk filming is that by the time you get to film again, like a month later, you feel so out of practice. And like, alright, I'm gonna try and get it together. Hey guys, what is up? My name is Kaylee. Welcome back to my channel. It is March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, and I am filming my February wrap-up. So I'm a little late. This is part 1 of 2. Last month I broke up my wrap-ups into, one was graphic novels and manga, and part 2 will be the novels. I'm going to keep it the same even though I only read 4 graphic novels / manga last month. Wow, told you, out of practice. But I think it gives me more opportunity to talk and people can do what they want with the videos, yada yada yada. Without further ado, let's just get into it. Alright, so as I said, I read 4 graphic novels / manga in February. I had 2 3-stars, 1 4-star, and 1 5-star. 4 is very minimal for me, but I read a lot of novels. Actually, February was short and I got really sick, and so it wasn't my best reading month, but it was still good, so let's get into it. My first 3-star read was One Punch Man by a guy that calls himself One. This is my husband's. He's a fan of the actual anime, so he wanted to check out the first volume. When I went for my birthday Barnes & Noble trip with him, this is what he picked. And so I figured I'd read it because I like to read the few things that he decides to read. I like to read so that we can discuss it. His bookmark is still in it. Not really a fan. Don't think that I will continue the series. It's just not for me. It was good for what it is, which is basically, from all the Goodreads reviews I read, it's like a parody on the type of anime / graphic novels that are basically just fight based, like Dragon Ball Z is one that kept coming up in the commentary, and literally it's just a guy that is so powerful that one punch will kill everything. Not just about everything, literally everything. So it very rapidly goes through within the volume, many little fight scenes, and all he has to do is punch them once and they're dead. I assume the story plot progression comes near the end when he meets up with someone else who decides that this guy's a superhero and I need to train under him, and the dynamic only just begins at the end of the volume. But One Punch Man himself is very one note. There's not really much to him, there isn't really much explanation about him. He's just there, and he even gets annoyed with the guy that wants to train under him. And that's basically the only emotion you really get out of him, is that annoyance. And I was annoyed. So, I mean, I spent maybe half an hour reading it because it's a lot of imagery and not a lot of actual text. So, 3 stars because I can understand that for the right audience, it's perfect, but for me, it wasn't. My second 3-star was a book that I saw going around Instagram for a while. My friend Manda, who I will link down below, who runs a bookstagram, read it and really loved it, and the cover of it is what sold me on it. It was a beautiful cover. I just didn't care for it. 3-star, and that is Children of the Whales by Abi Umeda. I had it come in from another library. I think it came all the way from Maryland. I'm in Chicago-ish. So I probably won't carry on with the series because they'll be hard to get and there'll be a wait. And it's just stressful because if I don't get the book back in time, then I get extra fines. Like, it's... Interlibrary loan is amazing if you really want the book that you're looking for. In that case, this will not fall into that category. I give it a solid 3 stars, so it was okay. I just wasn't invested. So the story is about this little island that people live on, and not everyone grows old. Like, you get to a certain age and you die. And I can't exactly remember why. Like, the kids that possess this thing called Thymia, I want to say, it's like a magic. And they die young. Like, I think as they hit their teen years, they die. And the only people that move to adulthood are ones that don't have that magic. And there's a specific job of a chronicler who will write about all of the people that have died as kind of like honoring them. But he goes on a trip on the sea and runs into another human, and this little island of people don't think that anyone else exists outside of their island. And they bring that human back. and then all this shit goes down that's really bad for their community. It wasn't gripping. I read it and I enjoyed it enough that I didn't want to stop reading it, but I also am not invested enough to carry on. Maybe if I get really bored I'll carry on, but it just wasn't striking me. The magic, I don't really understand. There's a lot of like gore and death at the end. I mean, the book starts with death, so there just wasn't a reason that would make me want to carry on, if that makes sense. And my 4-star read had to go back to the library because I had renewed it 4 times, which is the max amount. Whoops. And that is Princess Jellyfish. It was an omnibus, so volumes 1 and 2, and that is by Akiko Higashimura. I didn't think I would like it. I really didn't. It was my daughter's TBR pick for February. I was excited to have a manga picked. And I didn't really know what it was about because I went to the library one day and just picked first volumes of a couple of mangas to just try out and see if I liked it. I ended up like DNFing one, and I thought Princess Jellyfish would fall under that category of like, it's a cute cover but not for me. But I actually really enjoyed it. It's about a girl. She's the main narrator. Her mother passed away when she was young, and she kind of associated jellyfish with her and thus becomes like obsessed with jellyfish. It's her big thing. And she moves in with a bunch of other girls in this house that they all rent together. And these girls are a specific, I don't remember the name for it and I don't want to mess it up, but they are obsessed with odd things, like from trains to jellyfish. And one of them like writes fan fiction, I want to say. Things like that. They're kind of outcasts in society and they hate men. They hate them. And that's the story, is like the girl lives with them and they don't all have a lot of money. They kind of like bum off their parents. And at one point, to save a store jellyfish, the main character runs into another girl that's like the princess, like a very pretty, very like what you would find in a magazine kind of girl. Basically, the girls also hate those, the girls in the house also hate those kinds of women. They think it's all for show, that kind of stuff. So this girl helps her and wants to become friends after that, like takes her home, helps her with this jellyfish. But there's like a twist in that, spoiler, like skip 10 seconds ahead, but the girl is actually a guy dressed up as a girl. And that turns out to be his thing, and he's rich, and you should probably skip further ahead. He's rich and his dad's like in the Senate or something like that, like there's some kind of political thing. I don't have the book and I wanted to skim through to like get an idea of it, and I read the blurb on Goodreads, but it didn't give me enough background. In any case, he's not like, he's frowned down upon in his family. He is not the kind of honorable son they wish because he likes to dress up as a woman. And she has to hide him from her roommates because they can't know what to do because they hate dudes. But the whole point of the story near the end is that they're going to lose their house because someone wants to buy it for a better real estate deal. Like they want to tear it down and build up like a hotel, not a hotel, but like a nice apartment, luxury apartment complex. So the whole story is kind of like, it's becoming a little bit of a love story with various characters, but it's also kind of about this friendship group that has to band together even though they're social outcasts and very awkward to try and save where they live. And I liked it. It wasn't the best because it was pretty sexist and in both directions, and it was a little strange, bordering on magical realism, but not really. And I didn't like some of the depictions of people. Generally speaking, though, I liked it. And the thing is that I finished it and then I was considering whether I wanted to carry on or not, and I just kept thinking about the characters. I started another manga and I kept thinking, I started Orange and I kept thinking of Princess Jellyfish and mixing characters up briefly. So I was like, you know what, I'm going to check out the second volume. So hopefully I get to that soon and I can say whether it's worth it to carry on. But I gave it a solid 4 stars, so it's an older manga. I'm pretty sure it's done in its completion, but I'm gonna see what happens next. I feel like I'm hella rambling. And last but not least, my 5-star, no one will be shocked about this as I'm carrying through the series. Probably month by month I'm reading about one edition, but that is Death Note Volume 3, which is the bind-up of, what would it be, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, if you're going by the actual manga volumes and not the black editions. I love it. I really can't give you any information on this because at this point so much has happened previous to the plot line that telling you what happens in this one will, I mean, give so much away that would ruin the first 2 Black Edition volumes. But I really love the series. I don't love some of the depictions of women, and that happens a lot in older manga, so I'm not surprised, but be aware that women are just objects, really and truly, in Death Note. They're used and they're like hit on, and it gets weird. But I do really, really like it. I like the storyline, I like where it's going, I like the mystery of it, or not knowing what's going to happen next. And it has, Death Note has this ability to take a plot point that looks like you're going to hit a dead end finally, and twisting it so something new happens that doesn't seem like far-fetched or predictable, and that's what keeps me going. I'm in the middle of volume 4 right now, and unless it gets horrifically different than what it has been, these will probably stay solid 4.5, 5 stars for me. In case you haven't seen any of my other videos, the real quick synopsis is that a Shinigami, which is a death god in their realm, drops a notebook onto Earth for shits and giggles. When someone picks up that death notebook, they become the owner of it and thus can see the Shinigami that owns it. And that death notebook will kill somebody if you write their name in it and you know what they look like. You can decide how they die, or they'll die of a heart attack if you don't otherwise state how you'd like them to die. And Light Yagami is the boy, literally he's a high schooler who picks it up initially and decides to play God. At this point, you know, they're trying to figure out who he is. It's called Kira, the overarching god that's killing everybody. The police are investigating who it is, so you're seeing both this kid trying to weave through and keep himself free from being found, and the police trying to investigate and trying to outmaneuver Kira, and Kira trying to outmaneuver the police. And it's just a lot of fun. This is everything I want in a manga, and I basically, anything that's not contemporary manga, I pit against this, and that's probably why most mangas get like 3 stars from me. But this is a solid 5 star. So that is it for me. That is my manga plus the one of February. It wasn't that great. It wasn't that bad. I mean, here's a quick little video for you guys. As always, guys, thank you guys for watching. Like if you've liked this video, subscribe if you are new here and want to see more content from me. All my social media links are down below. You can hit me up on Twitter, on Instagram, and on Goodreads. I hope you're having a great March. I will see you in the next one, guys. Bye.